fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and the north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels, vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Mobile Command Center. Thank you very much in Africa. Thank you. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, wherever you are across the globe, in Asia, in Europe, in America, North America, South America, in Barcelona. Messi, my team, the bus is left. What tears? Tears came down this morning. Good morning in Tocho, Kenyans. Well done. Well put. My Ugandan people, the younger men from my villages across eastern Uganda. Well done. Thank you very much for bringing glory to Africa. This television, as you know, is a television that talks about Africa. The show today is the editor's memo. I've chosen a topic and a topic that touches most African countries. It touches Kenya at the moment, but it is across the continent of Africa that we find dubious investors. We find people coming to take our glory. We find people coming to take our resources. We find people coming to take our capital. There is capital flight in Africa. In many African countries, capital flight has become a disease, a chronic disease. My role as a scholar, my role as a model conflict resolution expert, a political scientist, I have read the subjects that you can ask me, even when my eyes are the final end of going down to God. I will tell you what I know about capital flight out of Africa. Does Africa receive the real investors? Good morning, Miriam Ogutu.
A very good morning to you, Doctor, and a very good morning to our viewers.
I want to hear that voice across in Narok. I wish we were in Mombasa over the weekend. Welcome back. And you did a great show on the road. Across Mombasa, you saw the type of legacy that President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Thank you very much, brother, for doing what people need to do while in power. The kingdoms of Oyo, Benin, Ashanti, they left a legacy. Even if it is thousands and thousands of years. Miriam, you can see today, I'm very relaxed, very calm. Even if it is millions of years, the ashes of Timbuktu in Mali have never gone away. The pyramids of Egypt still remain. Not because the pharaohs were most popular people. Most of the pharaohs were ruthless. Some of them killed people. Some of killed people. They murdered people. They forced the slaves, the Israeli, the Jewish descendants to build the pyramids. We left a legacy. One of the most important things that touches me and touches everybody across the globe is what legacy do you leave? President Kibaki left a legacy of being aloof when things were taking shape, but working. President Uhuru Kenyatta is handsome. A pandemic arrived in Kenya. A pandemic arrived in Uganda. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Comrade President Museveni of Uganda. Your Excellency, thank you very much for doing one thing. When the pandemic arrived, you took a very, very strict line of observing the SPOs. SOPs, sorry. But later on, Your Excellency, ulilegea kidogo, ulilegesha suruari. As a soldier, you allowed an election. You allowed a campaign. There was no need. We don't know when this pandemic will end. And Mr. President in Uganda, don't be intimidated by nothing doers. Because those who don't want to have that pandemic gone have never suffered or don't have a relative who has suffered. Some of them are ignoring that. Your Excellency, make it even harder for some of these guys who put their masks down and walk into bars, drink until morning, as if the drink was created by them to drink until they die. The same to Kenya. I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta. The SPOs that you put across Miriam today, you said I should open it up. I'm coming. I'm looking at people who are looking for building industries at the time of a pandemic instead of looking for ways of saving people. I'm looking at the people who are more concerned with money making, more concerned with elections. Miriam, hallelujah. More concerned with elections more than the human nature. Kenyans are talking about elections. I saw another person. I don't want to be very arrogant today because Jesus Christ talked to me last night. He sent a message to me. They said, be moderate today. I sent out 6 items why Matanga has lived up to 60 and above years. Miriam, I hope you have got them. You can read for people. If all of you started practicing them, my dear sister, when you are alone, what do? Have your thoughts. Think alone. When you are with people, check your tongue. Miriam, isn't it correct? You can't tell people about your children how they eat a lot of food in the house. You can't tell people about your child who apparently is misbehaving in the house. You keep your tongue. There are 6 points that I've written on my Facebook. My Facebook is an educative Facebook. It is not a Facebook for mercantile capitalists. Tawish, are we together? Good morning, Tawish. All the way from Narok. Today I've changed the format. Are we together, Tawish?
Sure, Dr. Masanga, we are together. Good morning to you, Dr. Masanga, Miriam Obutu, all our viewers in Kenya, across Africa, and of course, the whole world who are watching us this morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're tuned in from. Indeed, it's a great honor, Dr. Masanga, to be part of this program. Good morning.
The editor's memo this morning cites out several issues. One of the issues that the editor's memo cites out is investor. Who is an investor? That's what we want to talk about. Who is an investor? What does an investor do? How does the investor look like? What criteria do you give before you qualify the person to be an investor? Who does the due diligence of investor? How does the background of an investor look? You go to a forest and start eating meat and then come out and say you are an investor. You come to borrow money from us, from Uganda. Then you tell us you are an investor. You have come to borrow our money. I'm not going to go into the problems of how that money arrived there or arrived in Kenya. You come to Kenya and borrow Kenya's money, and you call yourself, because you are in a suit, and you call yourself an investor. Who is an investor? Miriam Ogutu. I want to take this opportunity to greet Javani Karanja. Javani Karanja, good morning, in Nanyuki.
Thank you very much, Dr. David Matsanga. Indeed, it's a very good morning here in Nanyuki and the larger Mount Kenya region. We are happy for the gift of sunshine. We have been experiencing some cold, but this week seems to be promising. And good morning to our viewers, wherever they are watching us, and the rest of the panelists, Tawish and the rest, and Miriam Ogutu in our studios. Always a pleasure being on Punchline Africa Television. Thank you.
An investor is a man who leaves his country, comes with money, ready to invest, to earn a profit. His money first. Not, there's a difference between an investor, an importer, an exporter, and a trader. There is also a difference between the type of business that you want to invest in. Are you investing in terrorism? You could be an investor, but you are paying money to people who want to dismember any state in Africa. Are you an investor? Are you an investor? The mercenaries that went to dismember Kabila, the mercenaries that went to dismember Mozambique, the mercenaries that want to dismember today, that supply uniforms to Al-Shabaab across in Somalia, are they investors? Can you tell me who is an investor then? The debate can be widened. The mercenaries that supply uniforms to Boko Haram in Nigeria to kill people, are they investors? Investors, Miriam, can come in that format. He can come as an investor, but those who supply uniforms, what is their main aim of supplying uniforms to rebel groups that kill people? To cause disharmony, dismember the states, fragment the states, create disunity amongst the states. I want to take this opportunity to thank headlines on Kenya, top of Africa. Kenya, well done. Miriam, I have this saying every day. When Kenyans are running, I also start running. Honestly, when it starts, I don't know whether Tawish has seen me. When they are running, I also start running. I feel proud to see an African leading the track running. I feel proud to see my people from the East and the Central African region, the Great Lakes region, running, sprinting to the height of the mark. Those are the investors we want. Those are the investors that we want in Africa. We want to keep Kipchoge, my friend. Have you ever met Kipchoge one-to-one? Have you met him one-to-one? He's a real investor. I swear in the name of God, he's a real investor. I have talked with that gentleman for 12 minutes. I met him in Kempisk. He stopped. I did not stop him. He saw me. I was seated on a table as you enter in Luca restaurant. I was having my dinner and he stopped. He was having a function there of all runners and other people, and he stopped. He said, "Oh, Dr. Matsan, how are you?" Within 12 minutes, Kipchoge showed me he was an investor. He talked about good politics. He talked about unity. He talked quickly, said, "You are someone on TV is always correct. I wish people took your advice on unity of purpose in Kenya. Unity of diversity." And we're going to talk about that immediately. Unity of diversity. That's investment. Anybody talking of unity in diversity is an investor. Because without unity in diversity, you can't have investment. Now let's look at these investors. I know Karanja and Tawish and Miriam have critical analysis of who an investor is. There's a man who buys the uniforms for Al-Shabaab to come and kill people in Somalia, an investor. I leave you to answer that. There's a man who facilitates guns to arrive in East Africa at the port of Zanzibar or Pemba or Mogadishu or Mombasa, is an investor. That's a man who buys drugs, brings them, ships them from Palma in Mozambique, brings the ship to the coast of East Africa to destroy people, to kill more people, men and women. Is he an investor? How many of those types of people that we have in Africa? How many of these types of mercenaries that wear suits arrive on our continent and tell us we are going to talk to Buhari and we want to invest in the machinery of kidnapping people? Yes. Yes. Buhari specializes in kidnapping people. In 1984, Buhari kidnapped Umar Diko. Put Umar Diko in a coffin. The British government stopped him. Is he an investor? Are they investors? Can Buhari have good investors? Does Buhari have an investor? Buhari's wife has got $2.5 billion stashed in American banks. Is that a good investor for Africa? Come on, Africans, tell me, what type of investor do we bring in our countries? We are told that you have arrested an investor investing in cheap populist theories of money making. A few months ago, Kenyans forget, a plane helicopter crashed near Lake Turkana. There were 2 whites. How many whites were there in Miriam? Quickly. There were 5 or 3 or what? Americans purported it, because we have not seen this report out. Nobody in this country has told us who were the people, what were they doing, why did the helicopter fly at night, what was the purpose of the helicopter flying at night, where was it coming from, and what was it carrying? Who was the owner of the helicopter? Time has come for Africa to stand here and be called Africa. We import wars on our continent. We bring people in format of investor when they are supplying us uniforms. You are supplying uniforms to Al-Shabaab. Are you an investor? Tell me. You are supplying a uniform to Nigerian police that was extorting money from people. You call yourself in your heart an investor. What type of investor who has not even 2 people employed in his office? There are some investors. Are you with me, Mr. Ketawish? You have found out how many people there? Tell me, tell the world how many people were on the helicopter.
Reports are that there were 5, of course, and the foreigners were 2.
Yes. And the black ones were 3. Or 1. One helicopter flew to safety. Another helicopter died, crashed, killed people. Money, plenty of money, of notes were available. Nobody has explained to Miriam. You sit there, you are a gazetted journalist. I'm a gazetted investigative journalist. I am a journalist of the Commonwealth. I'm one of the few editors in the Commonwealth, a member of the Commonwealth Journalists Association in the United Kingdom for more than 29 years. And you tell me nobody saw these helicopters crash? Nobody knows who were they, whose money was there, what were they carrying, where were they going, who was the beneficiary? Are they also investors? Huh? Tawish, Karanja, were they investors? Today is a training session, boss. Were they investors? Who is an investor? Tawish.
Dr. Masanga, according to to those who associate with them, they refer to them as investors. Only that we do not know exactly what is it they're investing in. Because again, like you've alluded to, you can be an investor, but on what front, on what aspect are you investing on? So I think that is what is begging the critical question as to what exactly are you investing on? And in this question of the individuals, of course, who are in the ill-fated chopper, we all understand, of course, the whole thing has remained in misery. We can't quite understand the huge sums of money they were carrying. What mission was it for? What was it supposed to buy? What was it supposed to be invested for? Those are some critical questions that nobody really has answered us this far, Dr. Masanga.
And we have covered it up. Now we have another crisis of Mr. Harun Ayadin, a very powerful investor. Powerful investor. Okay. Let's assume he's an investor. And let's give elements of the judiciary, evidence of the police and forensic experts to find out. But look at Mr. Did we look at his background, Miriam? The background of Mr. Harun Ayadin. Was there somebody who made a telephone call to threaten the immigration to give a work permit? Doesn't it happen in Africa? Yes? Yes? Mr. Yadin has been coming here, passport not stamped. Who was taking him out of the airport? What was he carrying if he didn't pass through immigration? Yes? Are they not critical questions to any security agents? A plane loaded with an investor arriving Wilson Airport and jumping over the fence. The occupants jump over the fence and they are waited for by VVIP. Is it called VIIP? Very important, very, very important people. Whisked away to one of the limousine hotels, waiting, no passport stamped. That's an investor. These are crucial questions that we want to watch. The second evidence, investors who came with fake documents, fake that they had arms to sell for 49 billion. Why is it that these things only haunt this mirage of investment? I am joking the memories of Kenyans, those watching. We were treated to a very high drama. Very high drama. Video, what we saw. Were you not engaged in that video, Tawish? You were there at the DCI headquarters taking, as a journalist, I saw you there. High drama. Where was this origin? The same investor machinery. Can we call them Mr. Investor Office? The only man in Kenya who sees investors. Today, I promised myself not to mention that a name in my mouth. Because when you talk about facts, Miriam, in Kenya, if you write on your Facebook, fifth, that I saw a fifth crossing Kenyatta Avenue, say, no, you tell us, you are now talking about so and so. So now, these guys who support some people know the fifth. It looks like the guys on who oppose President Uhuru Kenyatta know the fifth. Immediately you write on your Facebook the word fifth, they all come there and insult you. So who is the fifth? I don't know. Even if you have seen Mr. Harun Yadin stealing some meat from Maasai shrubs, because I saw this morning them eating shrubs. Mr. Harun Yadin was going to a fruit farmer. So they went in the bush to study the fruits in Maasai land. Did you see that picture which I have posted there for you? Very interesting picture. So is that an investor? What type of investors do Africa need? What does Africa need? What can we do to bring in investors from Britain? Miriam, lastly, as I surrender this topic for you to put on meat, the editor's memo looked at the President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit to London. He brought in huge amounts of money. Investors came. Investors pledged to come. Because in Britain, even if you are an investor, you have to come. You know what? You have to play the ball of the British law. You can't come and lie in Kenya and return to Britain when you have conned the people. The British law will equally bring you back to stand the trial like Chinchil and Osajo. Is it the CEO of IABC? Chicken Gate scandal. The people who took money, bribes from the Chicken Gate scandal.
Osago. Was it Osago who?
Oswago, yes.
Oswago, yes.
The IABC, they are all sentenced. They served their sentence. The company of Mr. Smith back there, which printed the ballot papers for Britain, for Kenya, the guys were sentenced to several years. Has Kenya sentenced 1/5? What is it difficult to sentence your law? As we count down towards elections, President Uhuru Kenyatta was in London. In one of the meetings, one sincere elderly person of about 70 years old told President Uhuru Kenyatta that we want to come to Kenya, but there is a man who harasses us there for kickbacks. Miriam, I promised that I will not mention names. I will bring here references. Kickback. You are told, before you build the factory, see me. Why doesn't that person see you? Why does he see you instead of seeing the law? If NEMA regulations, environmental regulations say don't build a factory on wetland, why should a person come to see you? He sees the law and then reads the law and says, I'm not building my factory here. Those are good investors. We have them here. Miriam, back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And also, an investor is an individual that puts money into an entity such as a business for financial return. So just to add on what, Doctor, you've mentioned there. So perhaps I'll start with Samuel Tawish, the points that Doctor has raised there, the editor's memo. Who is an investor? What does investor do? What criteria qualifies one to be an investor? And also reminded us of President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit to London and what goodies he brought to the country, and the issue of kickbacks that was brought up even during President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit by an investor who had intended to come invest in the country, but you heard what he said. So, Samuel Tawish.
Thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu, Dr. David Masanga, and Javan Karanja, of course. I think, Miriam, it is time for us to begin laying it bare and stop using the euphemism to define people who are corrupt, people who are who are engaging in shoddy deals in the name of being investors. There's a sharp contrast between what President Uhuru Kenyatta was doing in London just the other day, and of course the fresh revelation about Dr. William Ruto's engagement in as far as investment is concerned. President Uhuru Kenyatta had, when he was engaging, of course, the business world in, of course, London last time, you could clearly see that everything is actually in the open. Deals are being signed in the open, including and using government agencies and respective ministries and ministers, for that matter, so that the people of Kenya can really understand what kind of engagement their leaders are having in as far as bringing investment in the country is concerned. And I do not think there's any Kenyan today who is actually having any issue with what President Uhuru Kenyatta was doing in London and what he has been doing in as far as investment is concerned. Because again, this is something that is very open, something that has to be more of a symbiotic relation, more of how are my people equally going to benefit. It's not just about you doing this business for your own good, for your own selfish interest, and not looking unto the greater interest of the people of a country that you are leading. And Miriam, when you look into this case, that now the baffling case of this investor from Turkey, allegedly an investor from Turkey, you ask yourself pertinent questions, Miriam. And if indeed Deputy President William Ruto, as he confirmed on national television, that he picked a phone and called the Equity Bank, or he called manager for bank and asked that bank to facilitate that particular investor to give him a loan or money, a grant, whatever it is, and not to invest in Kenya. This bank originally is Kenyan, and the person who is doing this business as well is not Kenyan for that matter, and they're going to do business in Uganda. Then you begin asking yourself questions: isn't Deputy President William Ruto becoming a tyrant? Isn't he misusing the position of a deputy president? Because again, if any investor can just walk into his office or wherever, if it was in his private residence, and then they just have a conversation, then he picks his phone and calls a manager of a bank, and the 15 billion Kenya shillings is granted, Miriam, and it's not even in Kenya. They have not told us the aspect of security or collateral for that particular loan, or how maybe this investor was going to pay back this money, how even the bank itself accepted this person as qualified really or eligible really to get this loan. What does it speak? Is a person who is misusing his power? Is a person who is becoming more of a tyrant? Is a person who is engaging more on intimidation and coercion, Miriam? Because then it means Deputy President William Ruto can call any person from any office today and direct them to do things which even are against the law or the constitution of Kenya, Miriam. Because again, questions have arisen, Miriam. How did this investor come into Kenya in the first place? I mean, you've seen the issue of the travel documents and his permits to be in Kenya. I mean, there is no official stamp of government of Kenya or immigration, to be specific. How did it happen? It does then point to the same trajectory that it could be Deputy President William Ruto or people around him who are coercing and intimidating some government officials really to allow such kind of, individuals to come into the country and do such kind of things without really due diligence. It is very unfortunate, Miriam. This could just be one case. How many other persons in the name of investors, quote unquote, who could be in the country doing different other shoddy deals in the country simply because they have been allowed in by virtue of their connection to the high and mighty? This is very, very unfortunate. And I think far beyond what we are hearing and dealing with this Turkish citizen in the name of Harun Ayadin, I think the government officials, more so the intelligence, need to do now thorough investigations into how the immigration really has been permitting people to get into the country and even do business without due diligence. Because again, we could be we could just be seated here, Miriam, as a people, and we do not know we could be having people who are a threat even to our security. And the history of Ayadin Harun, if it is true, Miriam, it's very, very unfortunate that we can have a deputy president really engaging with such a person who has a questionable character, questionable integrity in as far as how he's been doing his business is concerned. This is a person who should not have been welcome in the country in the first place, let alone even doing business, let alone even coming to Kenya and going to invest in Uganda. This is very unfortunate, Miriam. And as we continue asking ourselves who are investors, then you ask yourself this question: how come that all these people who have questionable integrity, who have questionable character, whose of course background is also questionable, can only but find sanctuary and homage in Deputy President William Ruto? Mm-hmm. That is a pertinent question that we should be asking. Why are they not engaging the head of state? Why are they not engaging? We have the investment department in Kenya. Is it a parastatal for that matter, Miriam? Why are they not engaging such kind of individuals? So we have the foreign affairs docket in this country. Why are they not engaging that portfolio instead of going to the president?
Breaking news. breaking news coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ayadin is in PO Box, Istanbul. I like the way Mr. Harun Ayadin
Has been
is
deported.
PO Box, Istanbul. So the plane will be landing in 3 hours' time at Istanbul airport. So we can, I hope Oscar will follow to Istanbul and try to talk and then maybe go to Tanzania, Zanzibar, but Zanzibaris are waiting for Mr. Ruto to fly again there with this guy. I had told you never to talk about this name today, but you brought it again. It is as sad as that. Mr. Harun Aydin, the investor, is in PO Box, Istanbul, in the next 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Yeah, he was deported. And remember, today also he was supposed to be expected to appear in court, but he was deported earlier on there in the morning. So that is...
It's not in the morning.
Earlier.
We can see senior Range Rovers. This is the same Range Rover that has been everywhere at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where the white Range Rover has been in every place. Mr. is PO Box, Istanbul. So we shall meet, we can have our discussion best now on the former investor. But also with Jawish, you are making very good points there. Continue with your good points, but I wanted to bring you breaking news. And engineers in Nairobi, when I say breaking news, please bring something on top, on the screen. Breaking news. You can play about with those softwares. Punchline has enough software to engage. Breaking news, Mr. Harun Ayadin is PO Box, Istanbul, Turkey. So from there, he can now find his way if it's so dearly. If this 15 billion is dearly in Uganda, if I were Mr. Ayadin, I would now fly direct from Istanbul airport, then to Uganda, with Mr. Museveni waiting for you. Because I don't think President Museveni would like to have a problem with Ugandans. Can you draw 15 billion shillings in Ugandan bank? Honest, 15 billion Kenya shillings worth.
How much will that be?
$150 million. Unless somebody has dug a hole and kept this money somewhere. But can you draw it in a bank in Uganda? Impossible. So people should not bring in President Museveni's name. Because President Museveni's name, this one, we disagree. I've disagreed with some of my friends. Miriam, I have disagreed with them because for him is the president. He doesn't filter who is an investor.
And I think the government of Uganda also issued a statement, was it on Friday, and they said they did not know this trip and whatever that was meant to happen there. They are not aware, they are not part of it. So the government of Uganda has distanced itself from...
we should not destroy the relationship between Uganda and Kenya because of an imaginary funder of the same causes that we are fighting in Somalia. No. The relationship between Kenya and Uganda should remain. Kenya has helped in the stability of Uganda. Uganda has maintained that stability. So people should not come from Tripoli, from Libya, where they have divided Libya into two parts. Then they want to bring that instability in this region. No. No. On this one, President Museveni was not involved because the so-called investor is brought to him. Sindio Miriam. Mm-hmm. Someone came with an investor and said, "This is my friend. I have been in the presidential protocol before even Ruto became a student in the senior 6. Yes, I was working in the protocol department of Dr. Milton Obote. We screen the people who go to see the president. So you cannot blame the president of the Republic of Uganda that he was aware. In fact, now that revelations are coming out from East African state that this investor is a terrorist, he has more problems to answer the other side with President Museveni, because President Museveni does not tolerate terrorists. you have seen how the whole thing is going to turn up. Mm-hmm. So this investor, with the dream that he's talking about, it won't work. He has to go back to a drawing table and find out. Apparently, the media, nobody is talking about the darker days of Mr. Harun Eyadin. Nobody. You know, when they were cornered with facts, when they first dismissed the background that came up some 20 years ago, now they said, no, that's a lie. Now that background, a man transformed himself. Now you see what has happened now. It has come out very clear that there is a very huge problem and it is over. So Mr. Eyadin can now come up with a new plastic surgery and enter the Republic of Kenya maybe. But at least one person who could have assassinated people here is not here. Back to you, Miriam.
Very well. Thank you. Samuel Tawish, conclude your thoughts.
Well, thank you so much, Miriam. Mm-hmm. And thanks to technology, because again, Dr. Masanga has been able to intercept and get that information even as we are going on air. Of course, I've equally confirmed the same, that indeed the Turkish businessman or investor in quote has been deported back. That is good news for Kenya, and especially most of us really who are worried. And I think now it's not just time to concentrate on this one single individual. It's time for us to actually extend the net wider, Miriam, so that we can get to understand really. We'll be having so many of these investors in the country, or so many of these people in the country in the name of investors, but again, engaging in shoddy activities. They could be funding, in fact, even the political activities that we are seeing in the country, especially those who are now fighting President Uhuru Kenyatta. And therefore, if the interest of these particular people is really to destabilize governments and make sure that President Uhuru Kenyatta cannot run efficiently and effectively his term to finality, then I think the authorities should take measures to try and curb this. And I really want to thank the Ministry of Immigration and, of course, the Ministry of Interior for acting so swiftly. Because again, a lot of politics that this case was trying to draw in the country was also not very healthy for the peace and stability of this country. Because again, we have seen those allied to, of course, the investor, or to Deputy President William Ruto, have attempted as much as they can to politicize this matter. Of course, drifting the attention from what came to be a criminal matter, a terrorism matter, to now become a political matter. It's quite unfortunate, but we thank the authorities for really acting so swift. Miriam, for now, I submit.
Very well, thank you. Ajeevan Karanja.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam, and Tawish and Dr. David Marsanga for the greater input that they have added in the topic that we are discussing this morning. And for the breaking news, and for Dr. David Marsanga bringing us on speed on what is happening. And Miriam did a very good gesture that our interior security and intelligence are up to speed, and they are working to ensure that this country is safe, because we don't want a country where we are living in anxiety, where we have tensions just because some few criminals and terrorists are in the country in the name, and they are being protected by some guys who are in the government and are in a very big office in this country. Therefore, that is so unfortunate. And to the leaders who are housing these guys, who are giving rescue to these kind of criminals, should understand that when things go wrong, they will also suffer, because at the end of the day, if these guys bring militia groups in the country, we will all have a pinch of that kind of an activity. Therefore, it's so unfortunate, but I thank the intelligence and the police and everyone else who was involved to ensure that this guy is deported back home. And also, when they stopped the deputy president from traveling to Uganda with these guys, because we really don't know what they were planning. And the security of this country comes a first priority, because all of us need to be protected, and it's a duty of the state to ensure that we are all safe. And Miriam, on the issue of an investor, maybe I can say we have investors who invest in illicit activities that will not benefit the larger population. They just go to this investment where they will benefit by ensuring that they bring havoc, they bring events that will put the livelihood or the livelihood of people in a certain area at risk. And I think this.
We apologize.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Yeah, and I think the kind of investors that the deputy president is going around with are investors who are not investing in a noble cause that maybe will emancipate our country from poverty or ignorance, or ensure that we achieve the literacy level that we need. But these are guys who invest in illicit activities that will put the livelihoods of Kenyans at risk, that will put this country in an insecurity insurgence. Those are not the kind of investment that we want. But if it's about investment, Miriam, we have seen the deputy president saying, without lying, I'll say lying in a national television, without blinking an eye, when he said that he ordered he was a guarantor to this guy, Mr. Harun Ayadin, to get 15 billion from Equity Bank. Miriam, and I have seen the Equity Bank disassociating themselves with that kind of information. If we can have national leaders who don't feel shameful lying in national televisions, then Miriam, we are at a very risky situation if we happen to have those leaders in the State House come 2022 general election. Look at the people who are bitter. Look at the guy who associate themselves with this guy they call an investor. And if it's about investment, Miriam, why can't he invest in this country where the deputy president is seeking the presidency? Because what I know, the deputy president has no intentions to run for presidency in Uganda, but he is taking multi-billion projects, multi-billion investments to Uganda where they have their country. Therefore, he is creating a job to the ordinary citizens in Uganda if it really materialized, rather than creating that employment home where the young people are suffering in the yokes of unemployment, where he needs to show us as a deputy president, this is what I have been done to emancipate our people from the unemployment. This is what I've done to create jobs to the young people. But he is taking these multi-billion investments to Uganda. Therefore, this shows a man who is not even patriotic to his country, because you cannot come in a country, promising that you'll give jobs to Kenyans when you happen to become the president, but when you have an opportunity to create those jobs, Miriam, you don't do it now, because maybe in future he might not be the president. Why can't he bring those goodies, those investment in the country, so that we can have those multi-billion companies here and employ our young people? Therefore, when you look at all this saga, you read a lot of malice, deceit, and leaders who are not even who are not concerned with the populace they call hustlers that they purport to present. Because if they really care for these guys they call hustlers or the mama boggers, they cannot engage in those kind of activities that can put their lives, the livelihoods of these guys at risk. Therefore, this saga, Miriam, to some extent, it was a positive thing, because it has been Kenyans have been able to see what you have been saying, the character of the deputy president. He has been exposed a big time. And Miriam will see Kenyans now start opening their eyes, because if a deputy president is associating himself with this kind of guys, Miriam, we are worried if he happens to become the president. Look at the kind of arrogance that is coming from Oscar Sudi. They are uttering all manner of words, meaning if they happen to form the government, these guys are on a revenge mission. Therefore, some guys will not sit plenty. I saw yesterday the deputy president, or the other day, giving warning to the likes of Karanja Geficho as PS for Interior Security and his boss CS Matiang'i. Therefore, these guys are bitter, and if they happen to become the president, they might use these terrorists like Harun Ayadin to cause havoc in the nation. Therefore, Kenyans must wake up and ensure that as we head to 2022 general election, we have leaders who mean well for this country. Therefore, these guys, whether they will call them investors, whether they will call him whatever name they will try to quote, to sugarcoat these guys, Miriam, at the end of the day, they have been exposed. They are not good guys. And Miriam, when you go on Google and you try to look at this Harun Ayadin, Miriam, you'll see in 2001, he was arrested because of terrorist activities, and he was charged in a court of law. Therefore, this is not a good guy in first place. Therefore, that was a good gesture from a government. And these investors, Miriam, we need, if it's about investment, let's have investors who invest on a noble cause to ensure that we better our country and take it to the next level. I submit.
Very well. Thank you so much. Back to you.
I have sent something to Stephen to play.
Okay.
Play with. Mr. Investor is on the way to Istanbul airport. Stephen, play that clip.
All right. All right, Doc, as we wait for that.
Yeah, now there's a clip there.
Yes. They're just preparing it. They'll play it in a minute.
As we prepare it, it is very shameful that this has come to this. It gives the credibility of the deputy president. And this is a younger man that some of us thought he was a very good motor machine who could bring politics of Kenya to livelihood. For me, really, Miriam, some of these things pain me. And what pains me, is we seem not to learn from the history. We seem not to learn from the history. There are things that I personally, as David, that I usually go back. Sit down. And say, I can. If Stephen is ready,
Not
then
yet.
you tell me.
Yes, yes.
There are two things that I want to do. Stephen, hold on. There are things that I want to tell you. And since I educate, and my role is to educate the younger generation. I always put facts. In my pages one today of Matsanga leaks, Miriam, I said, and take this very serious. Point number one, tips for you to remain viable on earth. When you are alone, mind your thoughts. When you are with friends, mind your tongue. When you are angry, mind your temper. When you are with a group, mind your behavior. When you are in trouble, mind your emotions. When God starts blessing you, mind your ego. God bless you all. Let's play the tape. You can react after the tape, and then we close, we go home.
Okay.
That's why I've lived on planet Earth for over 60 years. Those are the things I practice every day. There are so many things that annoy me, but I cool back. If I were to be a man who carries a big mouth, annoyed, I think I would not be talking to so many people here, including my media. But at times I sit down and say, maybe it was me who was wrong. And I force myself back to talk to my media. I say, hello, how are you? I force myself to talk to Tawish. Hello, how are you? There are many things that Tawish annoys me. But at times he sits down and says, hello, how are you, boss? The same to Karanja. Miriam, if you follow those 6 points, wallahi, you will live longer. You know, if you are going to chase this money, invest 15 billion. If you have given 15 million to a man you don't even know, and he's in Turkey, you are in Kenya, can you sleep well? Miriam, nauliza. A Turkish man who was introduced to you by an ambassador, acquaintance. You just make a telephone call and give him $150 million. What about if he goes to Turkey and keeps quiet? Do you sleep well? So me, I don't want to die of heart attack. Let me have these simple things. I don't have much money. Nothing I have. I am just like that. Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right, Doctor.
Let's listen to the video.
Sisi kama vijana wa Mount Kenya, after the 60 days zenye the government ilipeana directives because of the COVID-19, we want to welcome the Deputy President to the rallies in Mount Kenya, because now we know something that we didn't know. The Deputy President used to come to our area and say, Mother Nyawosho, which is okay. And then tell us what he will do in after 2022 and the likes. But we have come to realize this week that Deputy President can be able to make a call to one of these banks and order a foreign investor to be given over 15 billion shillings to invest, not in Kenya, to invest in a foreign country, and that is Uganda. And we are asking Kenyans, how much more can he do to the youth, the hustlers in this country? Because the hustlers in this country have been conned with wheelbarrows, mikokoteni. But foreigners and other countries, jobs are being created by our own Deputy President. So we want to welcome him back now after the 60 days that the Ministry of Health gave the guidelines. So that when he comes to our rallies, any day he comes to our rally, he must call and put it in loudspeaker that he has ordered some bank somewhere. He can even still make a call to the Equity Bank and order some youth somewhere, some youth group somewhere in Kirinyaga, in Muranga, to be given like 15 million or 20 or even 100 million to start businesses. But we will not allow this shenanigan anymore of coming to our area, more than Nyagosho, with wheelbarrow, with mikokoteni, but a Turkish investor can be able to be facilitated to have 15 billion to go and create jobs in Uganda and not Kenya. According to his words, wajinga walisha Kenya hii. Asante.
All right, that is a Kenyan youth there, not very happy about investment being taken out of the country to Uganda by Deputy President. Interesting, and we've been getting a lot of such reactions from Kenyans. Edok.
So what is the problem?
All right, Samuel Tawish.
Lunch.
Doc.
Oh,
Samuel
my
Tawish.
sister, I've called you and the young now.
Samuel Tawish, go ahead. Your reaction from that video. So go ahead, Tawish.
Enough, but anyway, I think the bottom line, Miriam, really that we are drawing out of all this particular happening and moving forward, because the whole thing really appears to be strategies and preparations ahead of 2022 general election. And it appears some of the people will stop at nothing really to make sure that they get power. And it's not that they are pursuing power to serve the people of Kenya, they are pursuing this power for their own self-aggrandizement. And I think it is time that we want really the people of Kenya through the ballot to be in a position to sieve the individuals who are really asking for these positions come 2022. Because again, we do not want just to have the same crop of kind of leaders or people whom we already know are a threat to our own livelihood, they are a threat to our own economy. Because again, Miriam, when you have people who give preference, one to foreign investors in quotes, of course, and also doing these investments in other countries, not one which they intend really to lead. And they come out and say that they're working on a bottom-up approach, a bottom-up economy, and that they are so much keen on uplifting the lives of the ordinary mwananchi, the mama mbogas, the mkokoteni people, the border borders. Then you ask yourself this question: why then would you prioritize really to have such a very huge and big company being put up in a neighboring country and not your very own country? Because again, if you're talking about job creation, how are you going to do this when you cannot start at home? They say charity begins at home, Miriam. But again, Miriam, I'm not surprised, because Deputy President William Ruto has been and remains a man of double standards. You remember the other time when he was speaking on one of the local television stations, he came out and said he actually tried to bash the kind of course, that factory of producing the guns in the country, you remember, in Ruiru. And he did say that such kind of a company is only but employing 100 people. He wants to empower the ordinary people, that such kind of factories and companies cannot add value to the people. Then why is he again on the same page with President Uhuru Kenyatta assisting an investor to go and put up a similar and almost similar companies? How is it different from what President Uhuru Kenyatta is really doing in the country? So Deputy President William Ruto's approach in as far as 2022 is actually definitely going to backfire. It is not working at all. And I thank God because continually is revealing to us and the people of Kenya that this is not really the right person. He's a dangerous person really to be trusted in that seat as President of the Republic of Kenya. So come 2022, I'm very sure that Kenyans will be able to make a wise decision on who exactly they're going to vote in as president. And I believe that person is not going to be William Samoei Ruto. For now, Miriam, I submit.
All right. Jevan Karanja.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. And you can see the reactions from Kenyans, especially the young people, when they see the deputy president, instead of bringing job-creating ventures in the country, he is directing them to other countries. And Miriam, that is so unfortunate for a leader who wants to take this country to the next level. And we have been asking this question. The deputy president really tries to prevent the question because he has been the deputy president. He has been a member of parliament. What has he done to portray or to prove to the world that he really means well for the people he calls the hustlers? What are kind of the legislation that he has brought on board when he was a member of parliament to show that he really cares for the people he terms as hustlers? And if he has done that, Miriam, then he needs also to be riding on his scorecard, but not on empty promises, because a leader who have been all this time in active politics, they need to have a legacy. They need to have a scorecard where they can ride from as they seek a higher office. But from what I have seen and I heard from the deputy president, he really does not have a reference of what he has done for the people of this country so that he can take them to the next level. Therefore, what he has is promises. And, these are just promises, because in 2013, he was the same man who was promising jobs to Kenyans. And he said, where we have a board saying that hakuna kazi, within 100 days, the board will change and say that kuna kazi. But Miriam, to date, he is still pushing the same agenda that if we elect him, he will create these jobs. But when he has an opportunity to bring these jobs in the country, he directs them to other nations. This is the kind of leader that we want, because he wants to ride on the poor Kenyans. He wants to ride on the guys he calls hustlers to get state to state house, Miriam. And these guys should remain poor so that he can use them in 2027 or in future when he will be seeking for re-election. Miriam, that is so unfortunate, because we need a country, a leader who is visionary, a leader who thinks to empower this country and to empower its youth. I submit.
All right. Thank you. Doctor, would you like to conclude the show for us? All right.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you very much, viewers, wherever you are in the world, for watching us. This is Punchline Africa Television. You have seen for yourselves. I just want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ahmed Ayub Matumbo. In fact, you have no intestines except porridge. That sounds in your, Matumbo. When you have Matumbo, they think and they give you enzymes to think properly. I have just said, if you shut down my website, the internet is not only in Kenya. Internet is everywhere. But for now, it is impossible, sir. I'm still here broadcasting, unless you go and hang yourself on a transformer. Yes, so Ruto can become the president. Who has refused? I am not concerned. If he's the president and I'm in the law, it's all right for me. What else do you want me to do? You want me to die because he will become a president? Mutumbo, you wanted me to die and go and kill myself before God calls me because Ruto is going to become a president. It is his country. He can become a president. Yeah, he can collect all people who have been thieves and put them in the cabinet to steal more. That's very good. The economy will flourish. Another person has just told me on the phone while we are talking, Tawish, that, oh, Turkey is going to sponsor our candidate. You see, so let him sponsor our candidate. So Turkey government is going to sponsor Ruto. Yeah, because he laundered the money into Turkey through the embassy of Kenya. Have we told you that? Yeah, the ambassador there should be answering. Hakuna kuficha vitu chini ya maji. Yes. Money was carried in big numbers. It's okay. It's your money. Me, I'm not fighting for money, William. I'm fighting to educate Africa. And Africa must be educated. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have conducted the affairs of Punchline Africa Television. Coming next at 3 p.m. is Diaspora Dispatches by Miriam Ogutu, and I will join in from the background if I have one or two matters, especially on South Sudan. Something very interesting is coming out. And coming out next tonight. No, let me make it tomorrow. I have a special exit statement. Tawish, when I say special exit statement, I told you, I'm a principled man. I will do it tomorrow so that it can be captured by journalists around the world and anywhere in Kenya. A special exit statement on Matsanga Africa Perspective, 10 o'clock tomorrow. It is a do or die. I want to thank all of you, and I will thank all of you. Shakespeare said, there comes a time when you exit a stage and allow people, other people, players, to play. So in these terms, there comes a time when you say, I've been advocating for idea number one. I want to leave it for Miriam, Tawish, Karanja to continue. If they don't, then Paulo says, let us to the Philippians. Paulo wrote and said, I am not a Jew, but I have come here to preach among the Jews. For those who don't see my background and those who are not seeing my present, what you do, you take away the dust and go. Go and look at that point where the Bible says, when you preach and the people don't listen, what do? You continue to preach and break people's legs? No. You carry the dust and go and move off. And another thing, media must end because it's our time, is don't cry for me. The mothers of Jerusalem, cry for yourselves, Kenyans. I have done my best, and I will continue to do my best. Let's meet tomorrow at 2, at 10 o'clock East African time on Matsanga Perspective. Matsanga Africa Perspective on a special program. I will send the topic in a few seconds. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you for knowing you. Thank you, Tawish. Thank you for knowing you. Thank you, Javani Karanja. I thank you.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.